Hi everyone and welcome to episode 276 of the Mighty Whites podcast. I'm Jack, as always joined by KC.
Yeah,
And having missed the one that he's most crucial to be here for, is here this time. Connie's back. Yeah, mate.
I'm good, mate. Yeah.
Aye, all good. It's nice to have you back. I'm guessing you were running around after lots of children on the predictions
Yeah,
day.
the usual now, isn't it? Yeah. Just is what it is, isn't it?
Yeah. So I have filled out Connie's predictions. We won't go through them all because most of them are similar things to what we said. I think that the main thing to say that things that you had that no one else had, you've got Everton going down, which none of us had.
Yeah. I just it strikes me that they're getting to the point now where they keep clinging on by skin of the teeth, and they haven't been doing it as long as like Sunderland and Wigan did going back years now. But I just think the time's gonna come when it happens.
Yeah. I'm just going to try and pick up things you had that no one else had that I think are interesting. You had Cole Palmer for most assists in the Premier League.
Yeah. Fancy him for it. He's it will one of better performance, I'd say, for England at Euros. But yeah, I fancy him for it.
Well, what else is different to everyone else? Most assists, both Leeds United and in the Championship. Daniel James.
Yep. I think it'll be a big year for him this year, especially with Somerville going. And if we end up getting Rowe in, I still think you go with Dan James, given what he did last year, how good he was. Yeah, I think he'll have a big year this year, even better than last year.
I think it's too late for Dan James to have a big anything.
He's got a big fucking scar on his head, I can tell you that.
Yeah, I'm going to say it's a belter, is that one, isn't it?
Yeah, those are all pretty similar. Everyone went for Charlie Crew for first under-20 league's debut, except for Connie, because you've got James De Bayo.
Yep. I just think with his defence and given how injury-prone Pascal Scheuch can be, and the fact that Liam Cooper obviously is no longer there, I just think he'll get a look in this year.
Cool. And the one thing that I will give you a free rein to talk about as much as you want, where will Leeds United finish this season?
First, HMS Pistol League again. It's okay. We set sail last year. We just slightly missed destination. We'll go again. We get it right this time.
By the way, the audio has been absolutely fine, but is his picture froze for you as well, Casey?
It is.
Yeah, it's fine. The audio's coming through fine, which is what 99% of people that have this go for, so it's fine. As long as the audio works. But yeah, the confidence that's basically throughout, barring a few people on Twitter who may end up looking right very soon, the sort of consensus appears to be HMS piss for league, or at the very least HMS get promoted.
Piss promotion.
Yeah. Which always throws you off when it's Leeds, because we're very much in everything that can go wrong will usually. But then going into the first game, Daniel Farke comes out at his press conference. Everyone is fit and available. The whole squad. But where was the late major injury to like half the team that we were all expecting?
Don't say that. We still have an evening to go yet. Just please don't.
I'm sure Pat Bamford's got a flight of stairs to walk down at some point. Could do for him.
Pascal Strout's going to have another haircut and be out for 3 weeks at least.
It's all been downhill since that first haircut.
In
fact, honestly, Leeds have been shit since he cut his hair.
Yeah. So, yeah, the general vibes aside, we'll talk a bit about Portsmouth themselves. Obviously, even as fans of a team that won the championship last year, we have been pretty clever. I don't think I saw any of League One last season, barring the playoffs.
No, very minimal what I watched of it.
Yeah.
I think some of that Premier League snobbery was still in there last year.
Yeah, definitely. It absolutely was.
I mean, I'm aware of League One.
What,
to
just
quote
as a
Ricky
concept?
Gervais, it's not that we've forgot us roots; it's just that we've moved on.
Yeah. You say roots. It was an unfortunate detour. Was League One.
An extended, an extended detour.
Yeah. I mean, I always say I enjoyed League One because it was 3 years of us being, admittedly, at a dreadful level, but being a good team consistently for 3 years was quite nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, but from all accounts, they were very good last year, obviously, as you'd expect with winning the league. They weren't, like, if every team was at their best day, they, by all accounts, weren't the best side in the division. But their sort of floor was really high. If their bad days were 6 out of 10, so they just kept getting results, and when they were good enough to win. They weren't very swingy. So it's not like Ipswich, when they came out of League One, where everyone was saying, oh, that's the best League One team I've ever seen. It was very unbelievable, even though they actually came second in the league. This seems a bit more normal. The Portsmouth fans themselves don't sound ridiculously confident. Apparently, they've lost. They had a loanee from Norwich, a winger whose name escapes me right now, who by all accounts was very, very good. But he's gone. And that is leaving a bit of a... They've replaced him with a 34-year-old Matt Ritchie.
Yeah, I'd seen that over there, that he's gone back there, haven't he? Yeah.
Who might well still be pretty solid for him, but it's not the most inspiring. It's probably a more interesting signing that they signed Josh Murphy from Oxford. Now, obviously, I've just read that he was good all season, but in the playoff final, he basically got Oxford United up by himself, and he was outstanding. So that'll be a more interesting one to see. They've also signed Jordan Archer from QPR, who's a pretty solid goalkeeper, but I don't actually think he's expected to start because they've got that Will Norris as well. So he'll probably play. They were 4-2-3-1 most of last season, so you'd expect the same. They've also got that Sam Silvera, the sort of winger / number 10 from Middlesbrough, the Australian lad, who was meant to be pretty good. And above them all, I don't know if he is captain, but in my head he's captain, Connor Shaughnessy.
Wait to hear that, Connor Shaughnessy.
He's a captain of your heart, is he?
Yeah, well, just he's an ex-Leeds player, so he must be their captain, right?
Unfortunately, they've gone with very experienced midfielder Marlon Pack.
Yeah, Marlon Pack. How old has he got to be now?
33.
Is he? I'm surprised he's that young. Is he? Am I thinking of Marlon Pack that were at Bristol City for a good few years?
Yes.
Yeah.
And he's since played 100 times for Cardiff after that, and 70 appearances for Portsmouth. Which he's back with the club where it all began. So I assume, much like Robbie Keane, it's a dream move.
I am remembering right. It's Marlon Pack who when he left Cardiff, put his thing on Instagram by thanks to all the fans, etc., and signed off with his nickname, which is a nickname he probably shouldn't be using.
Is this a Packy Bonner thing?
Well, yeah. I mean, having your surname followed by a Y is a perfectly reasonable nickname to have. It just seemed weird.
Yeah.
You just hear it and you think, no.
Yeah, especially if you have a one-syllable surname. It's actually really likely that that's going to be a nickname. But it just sounds wrong.
M-Dog. Like, there you go. Solid nickname. But no.
I just looked, and he's still only like 33. I thought he was about 38.
Yeah, I was thinking. I'm surprised he's only 33.
Yeah. The other Regan Poole would normally be Connor Shopness's centre-back partner, but he's injured by all accounts, and he's pretty good.
Is he ex-Man U?
I believe so. Yeah, I'm sure I've signed him. I'm sure I've signed him on an FM after he got released by Scum at some point. And they also have their main striker. It's Colby Bishop, isn't it? The striker they found like a heart problem in pre-season.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah. I think so, yeah.
Yeah, it's Colby Bishop. He was expected to do quite well. Like they really like him. Yeah, he's got 41 in 90 for Portsmouth, and he got a load for Accrington Stanley before that. But yeah, just the standard test that they do every pre-season, he's turned up abnormal. So he's had like heart surgery and he's out for a couple of months.
Fair enough.
It's yeah. I can also say as I look through the squad, there's a few names I recognise, but there's not a lot of that terrifies me. Josh Murphy is an odd transfer to make when you move from one promoted team to another one.
Yeah, I assume that the money at Portsmouth will be a lot better. Just bigger club, bigger crowds.
You'd have assumed so, wouldn't you? But I mean, how long were they in League? Well, they went down to League Two, didn't they? But how long have they been in? They've been in League One a good few years, haven't they?
I don't know exactly how long, but it's a while.
I'm already on it. You guys talk. I'll sort this bit out.
Because I know obviously they had the back-to-back relegations, didn't they? When they first came down to Championship, and then
they got like a points deduction and stuff, didn't they?
Yeah, they had all points docked, and then they were just knackered, weren't they? Apart from Ricardo Rocha, who just decided to stick about and just rinse them dry.
Oh, did he stay there in the Championship?
I remember him. I remember him playing against us. I think, if you remember it rightly, probably about 10, maybe more years ago now, they had an offer on for the QPR and the Portsmouth game over Christmas. If my memory serves, that's when KC got dreadfully ill at one of them games.
That was God.
He got seriously ill, didn't he? And but one of the games were Portsmouth. I remember. I don't know. Don't ask me why I remember it, but I just remember Ricardo Rocha still playing there.
Yeah, I feel like it'll have been sort of 10, 11 years ago that they did it. That they got double relegated.
So 10 years ago, they were relegated from the Premier League. Oh, sorry, 2010. Apologies, they were relegated from the Premier League.
So 14 years.
What is that lining up? So we're talking like 2012, 2013 when they got relegated again.
I was relegated from the Championship in 2011-12, which was the first time in 30 years they'd been in the third tier.
Bloody hell.
Yeah, and then down again.
Yeah,
it was rough. But like they're one of the clubs where you look at and go, like as a Leeds fan, as someone who has gone through a number of shit owners, you go, no, they had it rough. As a set of fans, they had a really rough go of it.
Yeah. Well, they had the Russian one that spent loads of money in the Premier League and didn't.
Well, that Uzmanov, what it called?
Yeah. I kept wanting to say Romanov, but that's Hearts, isn't it?
Hearts. Uzmanov, I believe.
Yeah, and then they had what was basically like a fake sheikh.
The Arab who didn't exist, essentially. It was a bloke with a taxi.
Yeah, like there was just no money there whatsoever. And once you've got two of them in a row, you can only really recover either by just having some billionaire buy you, or it has to all go wrong and you rebuild.
Yeah,
and that's where they were. So I am very genuinely pleased from getting back to the Championship. It's more like the level they should be at.
Good club and all, and I think in that period when they were overachieving, I think, no disrespect to Portsmouth, I've got nothing against them, but I think even Portsmouth fans would turn around and say that to get to a point where they've, back when they had Redknapp and that, where you've got Crouch and Defoe up front for you, and you've got Sol Campbell knocking around and Cranchars and all that lot. They were just a good team to watch, I thought.
Yeah.
Back when they were Premier League.
They won the FA Cup, didn't they?
Won it twice, didn't they? Oh, no, they got beat in the second final because that's when it would all starting to unravel, wasn't it? They got to the final again, didn't they?
Yeah, did they beat Cardiff in the final?
I think it was Cardiff, yeah. And I can't remember who they got beat by in the next final, but I know that was when it would all starting to go wrong, though not long after that for them.
Would you like the the potted highlights of the Cardiff squad that was relegated from the Championship. And
from the Championship.
Yes, so that and again, a number of names in this may stand out for reasons that will become obvious. So goalkeeper Jamie Ashdown.
Oh.
Yeah.
Perennial target Joel Ward.
Yeah.
Oh, it's that team. So it's got like Jason Pearce and Michael Brown.
Yeah.
Not just Jason Pearce, Captain Jason Pearce.
Jesus.
It does still contain Ricardo Rocha.
Has it also got David Norris?
It has vice captain and leading goal scorer David Norris.
Oh dear.
It does also contain Luke Varney.
Hey.
So not even he was beaten to leading goal scorer by relatively basic central midfielder David Norris.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we are talking about Luke Varney here. So
this team was horrendous, got relegated to League One, and we signed half of it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Some notable highlights in there as well that are sort of non-Leeds related are Ben Jarney was there.
God, were he still there when it all started to go wrong?
Well, it's not still. He must have gone back because they sold him at Man City for like 10 million.
God, do you know what? I forgot that had happened. Yeah, when they first got money.
He went back just for that season.
Bloody hell.
In defence, the man with the biggest monobrow, Tal Ben-Haim.
Chelsea hero, Tal Ben-Haim.
Is he Champions League winning Tal Ben-Haim?
I think he is.
I know that didn't Joe Cole buy him like a holiday because Israel beat Russia and that kept us in with a shout of qualifying.
Jesus.
And obviously the most notable of their players who hung around, Canu.
Jesus Christ, yeah, Canu. He must have been 50. He must have been 50 by that point.
Was there when they got relegated from the Championship.
Yep.
Because he scored the winner in the, whether it was 08 or 09, I don't remember. But when they beat Cardiff in the FA Cup final, I'm pretty sure Canu scored the goal. And he was about 39 then.
I was going to say his legs were frigged then.
Canu, who made more appearances for Portsmouth than any other club in his career.
I can believe that in all fairness because he was a bit of a journeyman, wasn't he? If I remember rightly, wasn't he Inter Milan or something like that? Somewhere in Italy, and then he was before Arsenal, what a...
Yeah, the one I've forgotten about is 2 years at West Brom.
You can never forget that because that's when he missed the open net from 3 yards and got it over the bar and landed it on the roof of the net.
Yeah,
So, I for one struggle to understand how that Portsmouth team ever went down.
Yeah.
Or how the next season that Leeds team ever finished lower mid-table.
Yeah. Their squad a while ago is more interesting than their squad now, by the looks of it.
Well, I assume it's David Norris's son in goal.
Yeah.
But,
just from having, there's no names here that really jump out at you.
No, it's Josh Murphy, and that's only because of his brother.
Yeah, that Gavin White is the Northern Irish kid that they thought was going to be really good, and he's had a solid career, but he hasn't really kicked on. No. On the subject of which, Charlie Allen's just signed for Linfield a few hours ago.
All right, fair enough.
Oh, that's not
so he's gone back home.
I was going to say, following on the long line of young Irish kids who we get who end up going back eventually.
Yeah. He's the new, what was it? Was it Robbie McDade?
Robbie McDade, yeah.
Yeah.
Linfield as well.
I honestly don't know.
No. But yeah, it was Robbie McDade though,
yeah. But so yeah, they'll be 4-2-3-1. I would expect them to be pretty solid, and you would expect them not to. They'll probably sit quite deep and not overly go for it. With us having a full squad, are we all just expecting the team that started against Valencia?
Yeah, more or less. Yeah, unless anything spectacular happens in the next few hours that that they've been working on behind the scenes. Yeah, you got to go with that, haven't you?
There is part of me thinks he reverts back to type and starts with Piru.
There's been a few people said that. I don't think he's going to do it this time. Yeah, I think it'd be very harsh on Joseph. Don't get me wrong, Casey. I get what you're saying, and I think it's not beyond fact to do it, but I think it'd be very harsh on Joseph. Sorry, given how he's been pre-season. Yeah, I think it'd be ridiculous. I think it'd be bordering on ridiculous given how good Joseph has looked. So yeah. Melier in goal, Bogle, Roden, Strauch, Firpo across the back, Ampadu and Gruev, James on the right, Nonto left, Rutter behind Joseph. Yeah. And you know, we were saying, weren't we, Jack, before we came on, to say that we've lost Somerville and Archie, you look at that team still and you think, good team is that. Really good team. Yeah, I suppose the only worry people have is the depth. It's never the team itself when everyone's fit. Yeah. Especially seeing as I still could see Verba going, and then you're down one more centre back and someone for left back as well. Yeah. So you might need one of each of them. I'm very much in camp with Verba, whereas like last year, I think if an opportunity comes up and Gladbach come knocking again for him, he's going to go. I've got no faith in him sticking around if anyone's having a sniff around him. You know, it's not like Aronson who's come back and he's saying the right things, but obviously he needs to prove it out there. But yeah, I'm not confident with Verba staying. Yeah, I'm pretty confident Aronson stays because I mean, I'm not the first person to say this by any stretch, but the fact that he was so upfront and giving all of those interviews before they even came back for pre-season. Yeah. It seemed like he was like, no, I need to get on Operation Mend Fences. Yeah. Straight away. And I mean, the bits that I've seen of him in pre-season, he's looked all right. But, you know, hopefully he's, he's going to have to take the criticism that's going to come his way. And so is Verba, if he's still about. I know they got a little bit at the Valencia game, but that's going to happen. And it happened to Nonto. And to be fair to Nonto, them two need to, for me, just kind of take a leaf out of his book, prove it on field, and then, get people back on side. Yeah. I think it's the only other thing to talk about with Aronson is the fact that he's been given the number 11 shirt probably says that they're expecting him to be quite heavily involved. Cough. Yeah. Charlie Cresswell. Cough. Yeah.
I don't see in this team where I think he comes off the bench a lot for 9 minutes because again, Farker's going to Farker. He is not the best right winger in the team. He is not the best left winger in the team. He's not the best number 10 in the team, and he's not the best central midfielder in the team, or the second best, I don't think. So, I think some of his game time will come down to. I know last year we spoke about Farker getting scared off a bit, but with squad rotation, kind of after the Stoke game, when he'd made the changes and it kind of all fell apart there. So I think a lot of it will come down to Dan James's fitness.
Yeah, and there's always the danger still until the window shuts. I'm still never going to be shocked if someone buys Nonto. No, I think for as long as we're in Championship, it's going to be a fear every window, isn't it? Yeah.
Well, I think for so long as Everton don't have the money to pay for him, they will put bids in for him.
Yeah, they have shown themselves to be plenty up for just spending money they don't have.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's worked out really well for them, to be fair.
Yeah. We've sort of said what we think the team will be. Just while on the subject of transfers, the links to John Rowe from Norwich are sticking about. He's also been linked with Marseille, but they apparently haven't yet made a bid, whereas we apparently have. The bid was around 7 million, which, let's be honest, they were never going to take.
No.
Like,
I think if we go back in with 12, I think that gets him.
It won't all be up front, but I think that's what the number would probably end up being, because he's only got 1 year left on his deal.
Yeah,
but there's an option at Norwich's end, so he's actually got 2 years left.
Yeah, I was going to say they're not going to not activate that either. But yeah, I think if we go back with 12, I think that's enough to get him personally. And based on last year, you're looking at it. I mean, you can't take away from what Somerville did for us last year, but I think selling him for what we've got and replacing him with someone who's experienced in that league, similar age as well, for less money, it's good business, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I quite like the idea of Rowe, just because he's not the same as some of them. Like, he's probably passing and he's dropping deep in as good.
No,
but direct, likes to beat a player, likes to shoot, likes to get into the box and let fullbacks go outside. It's the right sort of player, right sort of profile for what we need.
To be honest, I think obviously in different ways, given where they play positionally, but it's a lot like the Rothwell signing and as losing Kamada. Obviously, I haven't been on to air my views on all that, but like with the Rothwell signing as well for us, I don't think he's a starter, to be honest. Not at this point, not where Gruev and Ampadu. But when he does play, I think he's more suited to how Fark's wanting us to go about things. Obviously, you've got the set piece thing with Rothwell as well. It's looked pretty good in pre-season as well. Whereas, as much as I liked Glenn Kamada, it didn't offer hardly anything going forward, though, did it?
No, it's why, to be honest, that would be the argument for Rothwell starting tomorrow. That if we do think Portsmouth are going to sit back,
maybe Rothwell will get on ball and go at them and kind of force issue a bit.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, I think one of the things I'm looking for after my experience of watching the football over the summer is, can we get a right-footed left back in and really nullify our own left-hand side?
I say, do the words Sam Byron mean nothing to
you? It's always. I think we're in a bit of a tough position, especially with the wingers, because if you're going to get someone like Rowe in, it's very much an admission of, okay, Nonto is leaving, because otherwise, I think we're going to end up spending a decent chunk of money on a player who's not going to feature that often. I can't see us at full strength dropping James or Nonto for much during the season.
I could see him dropping Dan James for him, because Leeds just like to find a way to drop Dan James.
And do you know what? For me, last year, I know you had the whole thing with Somerville. Obviously, Ampadu were class for us, but Dan James, he's come back. He got farmed out, didn't he? He didn't want to go to Fulham. He's come back, and I thought he was fucking brilliant, me, last year. And it's like I say, just whatever chance they get, he just seems to be cast aside, does Dan James.
It's because he tries to look out over his squad and sees who he wants to pick, and he literally can't see Dan James.
He just literally looks over Dan James.
Whereas Willie Nonto is typically celebrating on someone's back. So that's why you see him more often.
Or you hear him kicking up and whining.
Dan James, anyway, is now number 7 because the squad numbers are out.
Yeah, I noticed all that because Strike's got 5, hasn't he? Which I know Rodon's got 6, hasn't he? Which I thought maybe the other way around, but yeah.
Yeah, the thing that I like about this is I genuinely think that at some point this season, Leeds are going to have one game of being 1 to 11.
Possibly, yeah. With
1 to 11 would be Melier in goal, a back four of Bogle, Rodon, Strauch, and Firpo. Ampadu in middle of midfield with Rothwell.
Yeah.
James on the right, Aronson on the left, and Peru behind Bamford. I think that'll happen once.
I was going to say, yeah, it's not beyond all realms of possibility, that is it?
Yeah, and it'll have been probably the first time since the 90s that's happened.
Probably, yeah.
I mean, I look at the squad numbers, and obviously squad numbers is something I'm very passionate about.
It's Casey's favourite quiz question if it ever comes up.
It's one. Why have we got 2 reserve keepers and neither one of them are number 13?
Yeah,
it's just insane.
Not just that, neither of them's number 30 either, which is what your third choice is meant to be.
Yeah.
Secondly, what happened between the numbers 12 and 18?
That's signings, mate. Signings.
Like, at some point, if you're like DeBeo or Chambers, you're not thinking, I'll be 16. I'll do it.
Well, I also have to assume that they're saving number 14 for me.
Is it a sign that Johnny Howson's coming home? Who knows?
I would have liked, actually, if Charlie Crew would have just gone, nah, fuck number 50. let's get me a really aggressive squad number. Like with some of it, because I mean, when Somerville did it and took 10, everyone went, "Oh, that's a big step," and immediately was like just about his best player.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Yeah. Like you say, you kind of hope there is a bit of room in there where you're thinking, "Oh, there might be some players coming in." I don't know who they are, and I don't know what money we're going to spend it with, because I'm still not entirely confident that even though we didn't need to sell some players after Archie Gray, that we continued.
The one that got me with the squad numbers, well, it wasn't even that. It was when when they unveiled him, it was seeing Bogle 2 on the shirt. Now, I think Bogle's going to be brilliant for us. I really do. I think, especially at this level, it's brilliant. But I just can't see past it being the boy, Elland.
Yeah, it is a proper. That transition year is done now. It is a different squad.
Of course it is, yeah. It's all done.
Properly a different squad now.
Yeah, you look at it now, like all of the ones that you associate with being there and getting us back up, your Coopers, your Ailings, Clicks, Alioskis, Pablos, all that lot. There's not one of them now, is there? It's all done.
Well, there's Pat. There's literally Pat. He's just sat looking around the dressing room going, it's like Danny Sullivan after the latest culling on Dream Team. He's just looking around going, all my mates are, substitute dead for playing for Middlesbrough. But
to be fair, Meslier were there with him. He can talk to Meslier. It's fine.
Yeah, you don't think about Melier as that, do you really? But because he's so young. But he is.
Well, he came in, didn't he, when Casilla got banned, didn't
he?
Yeah, banned, booted out.
Yeah, just
if only. Yeah, I can only imagine how much deeper his voice is getting now. Yeah, it was one of those. I think we spoke about it a bit last season. It is a little bit sad, but I do look at this level and I do like sort of your first 14, 15 players you have to pick from in this squad. I think it's a really good team. But if Georgie got injured.
Yeah, it's...
If Joe Rodon gets injured.
If Georgie gets injured, we'll have a Radrizani style tweet with hearts around it that just says Medford Messi.
No, I think that's the worry though, isn't it? It's and I think it's same for a lot of teams. It's having that depth in it, and obviously there is, whether we like it or not, it's trying to get that balancing act in it between obviously the finances, getting the squad depth, and I think this is why I think we will see obviously the likes of Crew De Bayo coming in, and I do think we will see more of that. I think Josh will get more of a look in this year as well. I really do, because after you say that 13, 14, 15 players, there's not a right lot there, is there?
Yeah, I always hold out hope for Joffrey.
You want him to do well, yeah.
No, I'm in the same boat. Really want him to get some game time and do well. I think it's just slightly alarming that there was very few points last season when Fark showed any willingness to play him.
Yeah.
And without him doing anything, he's now been bumped up the pecking order by default.
Yeah.
To be honest, genuinely, if we do sign like if we, for example, signed John Rowe, like even if it's just him, like go on loan somewhere and play, but he needs to play.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, you look when he ended up at Sunderland. He did all right for him. He didn't score the amount of goals that I thought he'd score.
No.
But from what I heard coming out of Sunderland, it seemed quite positive about it, you know.
Yeah, well, he got a bit unlucky, didn't he? Because they signed him, they wanted to play 2 up, and they wanted to play him with that Ross Stewart.
Yeah, and he got crocked, didn't he?
And like their first game together, Ross Stewart got crocked after like 20 minutes.
Yeah.
So Joffrey ended up playing lone number 9 the whole season, which he did fine, but it's not his game.
That, and bear in mind, this is like, what, 3 years ago now? 3 years ago. So, you know, you kind of turn around going, right, kid, it's on you.
Yeah, we've had he has had that thing where it's just stagnated, hasn't he? And it needs something to kick on.
Yeah.
Kick on is the long term when it's the opening game, but will Leeds have a very strong start because we need some score predictions? Alex has just messaged me. He's gone 3-1. Benny has kindly put it on here so that we can do it on here. Benny also has a 3-1 Leeds win, independently of each other. There's been a lot of Leeds are going to run away with the opening game and stuff, but that isn't like us. But I am going to say that we'll win. I'm going to say 2-0.
I'm going to say fun in the sun, and a 4-0 win.
I'm going even more mad than KC here. I think looking at that team, I think we'll wipe floor with them. I'm going to say we'll get 5.
And will Portsmouth get any?
No.
Because, I mean, just us getting 5, that could have been 5-4. That would still have been fun in the sun. Just scary fun in the sun. Connie's thing has frozen up a little bit more, but I'm sure I'll be back in a sec. The confidence of that is always worrying because, like, I always used to hate it when sort of 3 of us all went for a win, and now there's 5 of us all going for a win.
2 of them don't even support us.
Yeah, true. Well, one of them sort of does. But we proved it last season. That's why we get predictions off him, because he ended up winning. Because we're too close to it. I'm probably too overly negative, and Connie's definitely too overly positive. So,
and I'm too ill-informed.
Yeah.
Also, after my wonderful prediction of West Brom getting into the playoffs, did notice that I'd missed out the day before they were under a transfer embargo.
Yeah. Well,
it's going to be another good year predictions-wise.
Were you the only one that had them in? No, Alex had them in as well. So, yeah, Connie's you could. I mean, obviously the picture was knackered the entire time, but for 99% of that won't matter. It has finally disconnected, but luckily it did it just after the predictions, so it doesn't matter that much. News-wise, is there anything else that we need to talk about, KC, as far as you're aware?
No, like I said, we've gone through the squad numbers. That was kind of the main thing, I imagine.
Yeah, I will say one thing that is true, and I don't know if this has actually happened to anyone, but the fact that the shirt's been on sale for a couple of weeks and now they've done the squad numbers, I think that's a bit of a dick move, because there's going to be someone who has Strauch's old number or who got Rodon's old number?
I don't know. It's the squad numbers are always confirmed just before the start of the season, and you want the shirt to be out early.
Yeah, I just think that if you can do it early, like they will have known Strauch was moving to number 5 before it came out. Yeah, I have just had a message of Connie saying the internet has just fully dropped out. So yeah, he won't be back, but we might at the end anyway. So yeah, if that's everything, then we will basically call it there. If we do even nearly as well as you and Connie are predicting, then it's going to be a really good day. And will probably mean that going to the pub afterwards becomes longer than it originally was going to.
Well, not for me.
Oh, yeah, because you're working, aren't you?
I will be working. But fortunately, with the early kickoff, I will watch the first half unimpeded and the second half somewhat impeded.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that will do us for episode 276. All of us expecting a really strong start. So I think that they're like 10-1 if you want to get your money on Portsmouth nice and early. But yeah, Connie says bye. I have the message. But I've been Jack, see ya.
I've been Casey. In a bit.
I was expected you to go and Connie.
I did think about it, and then I nearly tripped myself up. I nearly said I'm Connie again.
I did think about it, and I nearly tripped myself up. It's like Leeds United's defending. In a bit.